Hello and welcome to another edition of the Bastard Review. This time around I'm looking at ECW's Heatwave 98. This event took place on August 2nd, 1998 in the Hara Arena in Dayton, Ohio. We start off the night with Joey Styles in the ring, and he introduces his color commentators for the night, Shane Douglas and Francine. Shane cuts a small little promo about how he's excited to see Bam Bam Bigelow take on Taz again later on in the night. The first match is Just Incredible taking on Jerry Lynn. Now this was their third match between each other, and this was the rubber match. Both men had won a match prior to this, and this match would decide who was the better man. This was a nice little feud. I'm kind of disappointed that it didn't go on for very longer. It's odd because their first match was back in May, then they didn't face each other again until July. And I don't think they had any interaction between each other up until July. But once that second match was over, it was on, and they had a feud for a good month, ending at the beginning of August. I think they should have gone a little longer. Jerry sticks around until the end of the month of August, and then we don't see him again until like November. So I don't know if it was he was taking a rest, or he just wasn't being utilized. I would have liked to have seen this feud last until September, and then maybe give both men a month to 2 months off. The match is relatively entertaining. There are a few high spots. Jerry hits a top turnbuckle Hurricane Rana, sending Justin into the timekeeper's table. That was insane. It was a beautiful move, and they did it flawlessly. Justin hits his signature move. That's incredible, which is a tombstone pile driver. But this time he does it off the top ropes, and that was a nice thing to see. A great way to open up the show, and a no-nonsense way to end the feud. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. Up next, we have Lance Storm taking on Chris Candido, and by God, what a difference a few months make. The last show I reviewed, Lance was the face, and Candido was the heel. Now, Lance is the heel, and Chris Candido's the face. I just love this rivalry that they have going on. It's not technically a feud because they're on again, off again partners, but I think after this, they're not going to be partners. It was a great match, and honestly, that's not really a surprise considering who the two wrestlers are. I have great respect for both men. They are both phenomenal wrestlers, and honestly, I can't think of a bad match they've ever had. Lance does a respectable crossbody off the top turnbuckle at the beginning of the match, and Chris does a really nice running Tiger Bomb. Is it me, or do a lot of wrestlers around this time do the Tiger Bomb? There was one in the Credible Lynn match, and there's also one here. I guess at the time it was one of those new moves, so everybody had to do it. Just a really great match. I really wish it was for a title, but it's definitely not the last match we've seen between both men. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. After that, they cut to a segment taped earlier in the evening where New Jack is talking to the crowd in Dayton, and he gets attacked by Jack Victory and the Dudley Boys. And then chaos ensues. It's a nice little segment, and I suspect that something's going to happen concerning it later on in the night. Up next, you have Mike Awesome taking on Masato Tanaka. Now, Masato came over from Japan. He ran a company that was similar to ECW called FMW. I recently downloaded one of their videos, and I will be eventually reviewing it here, so that's something to look forward to. Both men have a rivalry outside of ECW, and this, I believe, was their first match solo in ECW. They had a few tag matches, but this was the first time that they definitively faced each other. It's a completely competent match. When I first saw this, it had been the first time I had seen either wrestler, and both of them made quite an impression on me. Especially Mike Awesome. He was a really big guy. He was over 6 foot, weighed at least 280 pounds, maybe more, and this guy dove off ropes. He was just really a sight to see, and it's a shame he ended his career in ECW the way he did. I won't go into that now, but I will touch upon it in future videos. Some wow moments include a tope dive by Mike Awesome over the ropes. Another move that had me cringing. Masato counters Mike's attempted Awesome Bomb, and then does what I believe is a double underhook crucifix powerbomb over the ropes, sending Awesome into the table and onto the concrete. It's just a wonder that Mike Awesome was able to get up at all. That was just a sick bump. This was just a really good match. It furthered their feud or rivalry or whatever you want to call it. And it just made me eager to see them face off again. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Next up, we have Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinzaki taking on Sabu and Rob Van Dam for the ECW World Tag Team titles. Now, both Japanese wrestlers are from FMW as well. This was their first match in ECW, I believe. And they get a title match. That really doesn't make sense to me. I think it was just a way for Paul Heyman to feature them on a pay-per-view and give FMW a little bit more of name recognition. Still, I can't buy that they're vying for the titles. Maybe if they were a part of a showcase, that would have worked. But I'm not buying the title match. That being said, it was still a great match. There's just too many high-flying spots in this match to mention here. Suffice it to say, it's what you expect by Sabu and RVD, and just having two Japanese high flyers adds to the mix. A really great match. If I could buy them vying for the title, it would have gotten a higher rating, but that kind of took me out of the match. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Up next, Bam Bam Bigelow takes on Taz in a Falls Count Anywhere death match for the FTW title. Now, the storyline is so complicated and convoluted, I'm not going to go into it. Suffice to say, if you saw their match at Living Dangerously, this is similar. Of course, since it's a Fall Counts Anywhere match, they're going to go out into the audience, and they do, and I'm okay with that because that's the first match on this card that did, and it didn't feel like overkill. This is their second match going up against each other, but I don't think they ever had that third match to decide who was the better man. They both have 1 wins each against each other, but there was never that decisive match, and that's disappointing. Still, it was a great match. It furthered the feud between Taz and the Triple Threat, and it made me eager to see Taz take on Shane Douglas. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Finally, we come to the main event. Bubba Ray, Devon, and Big Dick Dudley take on Tommy Dreamer, Spike Dudley, and Sandman in a Dudleyville street fight. Now, don't ask me why it's a street fight, because they never end up going out into the street. That being said, it is a violent melee. It's what you would come to expect from all 6 participants. And damn, was it fun to watch. At the beginning, Dreamer and Devon start off, and would you believe there's a couple minutes of chain wrestling? Yeah, I was surprised too. After that, all 6 men get a chance in the ring, and then it becomes the melee that I was expecting it to be. They fight into the audience, but thankfully they don't stay there very long. They keep most of the action center in the ring. Sandman gets a few shots in with a ladder that looked very painful. And there was a great moment where they get all 3 Dudleys and Joel Gertner in 4 trees of woes on the corner ropes. Then the 3 of them and the referee who Joel earlier was insulting do 4 simultaneous baseball slides into the heads of their opponent. It was a funny, great moment. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Overall, ECW's Heatwave 98 is a worthy show to watch. You've got 6 great matches, and nothing brings this show down. ECW compilists already have this in their library, and if you're just a casual wrestling fan, I still recommend you checking it out. It's definitely worth your time. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Thank you for listening. Please tune in again to another Bastard Review when I review another wrestling DVD in my collection, or anything else that crosses my path.